Yeah, just wanted to touch on that too, just while we're talking, because I mean, some people can and some people can't, but I've over the years watched you in the cutting pen and the success that you have there, and then you step over into the camp drafter and then make it look like you're at home here too. Does the cutting help you with your camp horse training, your camp drafting, and vice versa, or is it?
Yeah, absolutely. They both complement each other in little ways. Not like I definitely think obviously the cutting foundation it's second to none. It just sets them up for life. Like no matter whether they end up good at it or not good at it, that foundation is with them forever. And you've got such that set program. You got, like we did when I go home from the Epic, you go home to work them, and like when you've got a deadline like that for maturity, whether they make it there or they don't, or they do any good or they don't, you've got a horse that's trained that can go sit in a paddock for 10 years and someone get them out the next and work them. They don't forget. They're trained. So yeah, absolutely. Like the cutting's definitely helped, and it's helped me a lot with my drafting. But they are so different. I do ride at a draft completely different to a ride to a cutting. I want my cutting horses completely different to my feet than I do on a camp draft horse. I want my horses in a camp draft a little bit more electric off my feet than a cutting horse. So there's things I've got to, make sure that I'm aware of when I get on. Like I get on one and I'll be working it a certain way, then I get on another one, you're working completely different. People, I think, that have trouble try to work either their cutting horses, they try to work their camp draft horses like they work their cutting horses, and then they try to work their camp draft horses, or their cutting horses like they work their camp draft horses. It is so different. So yeah, I don't really work them the same. I want completely different feels. The foundation's all good, but is obviously helps, but there's it is completely different, you know what I mean? On
a competition level, you were cutting first?
Oh look, I like just try and do the bigger events, you know what I mean? Like I probably, I don't do a lot of the as many drafts anymore because of run restrictions. Run restrictions is really cruel. When we can only have 8 runs, and you've got, I used to be able to cart 15, 20 horses to a draft. Back, I think it was 2017 when I won the rider title. We could go to a draft and I could enter, have 15, 16, 20 first round runs for the weekend and take a truckload of horses, and it was worth your while. But now the restrictions have come in. It's just I could take a 2-horse float and have my 8 runs, you know what I mean, for the weekend, or my 4-horse float. It makes it really hard. So that's probably the reason I've gone towards the cutting, because I can take 15, 20 horses for a weekend and they all can have a couple of runs. All your clients are horses are getting, you go to a draft, I don't have any camp draft horses of my own really left anymore apart from Jack. And I've either retired a lot of my mares. Once I hit open, I just retire them. They might only be 10, 12-year-old, just retire them because you need to make room for those younger ones coming on the truck. So that's probably the biggest thing that probably pushed me that way. That's probably the biggest.
On a competition level, like obviously you've won the biggest camp drafts and the biggest cuttings in the country. What gives you the most satisfaction, or is it just equal?
No, yeah, it's equal. Yeah. It's nothing. I love both. Like people ask me that question all the time. What do you prefer? And I honestly, like you get as big a thrill out of winning a futurity as you do as winning a big camp draft. It's all. Yeah, I can't really ever choose. People ask me all the time if you had to pick, I'd be flipping a coin.
Yeah, right. Mate, because we will have to wrap this up because you've got things to do, and I appreciate the time that you've given us. But mate, this year's Epic, you've got two nominated. Two colts by one yearling colts, both out of Dual-Ray mares. One out, and both out of really well performed Dual-Ray mares. One's out of a mare that I was 15, won the 15,000 novice horse on a few years ago, and then I went and won a draft on her. She won a couple of drafts and I retired her. She was a novice horse. Pretty much after that year I did the rider title, and I've got a couple of good mares that I show out of her, and I've got an exceptional 2-year-old I've just started, but I've got a really good mare I show called Autumn Nurse, which a lot of people know is out of that mare. And then I've got a smooth talking style out of a Dual-Ray mare that was reserve champion at the Toowoomba Futurity, final at the Tamworth Futurity. Then her mother won the Tamworth Futurity. She won a few other futurities too, and she's in the NCHA Hall of Fame. So they're two really nice horses. So hopefully they sell well, and I think they do well in either they could go karting
go drafting, go challenging. But they're both really nice horses. They're the Cat King Cole out of one mare. He's a beautiful sort of a taffy looking blonde mane and tail sort of horse, and then the other one's a pretty blingy sort of a chestnut.